Hello everybody and welcome to this Q&A session. My name is Osek Eke. I'm an assistant professor at the School of Communication and I'm going to be moderating. And basically it's a Q&A just like the name suggests. And we have two microphones on each side, on each aisle. So please step up to the microphone and ask Mr. Alter a question or two. I'll begin by asking him a question. I think all of us are aware if you walked through the halls of Mike Ewing and you saw the TV in our lobby, you most likely would have seen the economic news about the $700 billion bailout. And of course, I want to begin with that to ask Mr. Alter how the economy as an issue and what role it will play in the outcome of this election.
Well, I think we now know that one way or another it will play a huge role in this election, and what makes this time so fascinating is that events are very much in flux. As we speak, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is down somewhere between 500 and 700 points, which is down as low as 700 points about an hour ago, and it might be rallying slightly at the end of the day, but there are some bets, depending on how it goes, that it could be the largest one-day drop in the history of the New York Stock Exchange. So we're talking about momentous economic events that are underway as we speak. The reason that the Dow is down so much is that this morning the House of Representatives rejected the bipartisan bailout plan for the financial services industry. The Democrats voted largely in favor of the plan, but about 90 of their members defected and voted against the plan. And the Republicans in the House of Representatives, who until 2006, or through 2006, controlled the House of Representatives, Republicans rejected the plan by a margin of 2-1, which was what accounted for its defeat by about, I think, lost by about 20 votes. So this is a stunning rejection of both President Bush and the congressional leadership, which supported this plan. The president is supposed to be the leader of his party. His power has not just shrunk, but it has evaporated entirely if on a bill that he considers of extraordinary importance in rescuing the American economy was so soundly defeated by his own party. In terms of the presidential candidates, John McCain, as recently as this morning, was claiming credit for having brought the House Republicans around in support of this deal. Clearly he did not do so, so that raises questions about both his ability to count votes and also the degree of influence that he exercises within his own party. Barack Obama had a better time of it, but was also not successful in bringing all of the Democratic Party behind this proposal, since, as I mentioned, 90 Democrats voted against it. So the question is, what will happen now? Will this huge decline in the stock market, I mean the values of pretty much all of your parents in one way or another, their assets are tied up in the stock market, even if they don't trade individual stocks, whether it's the value of their home, their pension, their 401k, their place of employment. So everybody is now, well over half the country is now connected in some way to the market. So the question is whether this shock today will have the effect of driving home the point that the rejection of this plan will mean that we go into a severe recession, and that when they re-vote, that it'll pass. My guess is that that's what will happen. But there were also also some pretty good political reasons why this was rejected. The administration, particularly the Treasury Department and Hank Paulson, the Treasury Secretary, who we had on the cover of Newsweek last week as King Henry Paulson, they didn't do a very good job of selling the proposal. And from the start, it kind of smelled like a dead fish when it was laid before the American people. And so the public was extraordinarily angry about this for some good reasons, especially because initially the proposal that Paulson put forward, which was only 3 pages long, you can imagine, a $700 billion bailout that was 3 pages long, and which basically assigned to himself all but dictatorial powers over the American economy. It's kind of understandable how people had a bad reaction to that. He put forward a proposal that had no accountability in it and did not, reflect any understanding that he was not a king and that actually there should be some oversight. So over the course of the last 10 days, Democrats and Republicans in Congress insisted that there be some oversight, that there be a board that looked over this. They insisted that not all $700 billion be authorized immediately, that it be done in stages, so that at first it be only $150 billion, then another $150 billion, and so forth. And they insisted that the obscene executive compensation that the losers on Wall Street who brought us to this pass were receiving for their failed efforts, tens of millions of dollars in compensation, that there be some kinds of restrictions on that compensation. All 3 of those conditions were met in the final deal that emerged over this past weekend. But by then it was too late politically, and the package already stunk in the nostrils of the American people, and it was too late for them at that point to turn it around politically and to explain to people that although it seemed like it was just bailing out a bunch of fat cats on Wall Street, it was actually essential for the value of our homes, of our assets, of the money that allows you to go to a fine school like Elon and all the rest. So the thing was not properly sold as a rescue package for the American economy. It was instead defined as a bailout and a favor that was being done for people on Wall Street who didn't assess the risks of their loans properly. So how does this play out in the campaign? The only honest answer is we don't know yet, except that I think that we can fairly say that the period of what we'll look back on and remember as the lipstick on a pig phase of the 2008 presidential campaign, when the process could be hijacked by trivia, stupid attack ads, gaffes, and other assorted distractions, may now be ended, and we may be focused on real issues as opposed to phony campaign distractions. And obviously the fate of the American economy is about as real as you can get when it comes to